Teresa Nguyen, she's our guest speaker for tonight. She will be leading this event, this presentation and a workshop combined. She's been working at the American Language Program across the street on campus for 4 years, and she graduated from Cal State University Long Beach for her TESOL degree. And she's been to more than 15 countries, if you can believe it. She's been to more than 15. She's also studied in Korea, China, and Spain. And she's taught in Vietnam, Korea, and China. She has 8 years of teaching experience, and this includes business English and English as a second language and English as a foreign language. So if you could join me and welcome her to the stage right now. So hello everyone. Do you guys want to move or you guys are okay over there? Not to call you out. Okay, so for the first half, I'm going to talk about my teaching abroad experience, and then after that, we're going to have just like a mini workshop on how you can teach better, like the skill sets that I can kind of prepare you for whether you want to teach here or teach abroad, but it's very effective for second language learners. For the first half, feel free, when I'm telling my stories or when I'm going through the presentation, feel free to ask me questions. Like, you don't have to wait till the end for a Q&A session because there isn't one. So just, during the time, if you have a question, just raise your hand, and definitely there's only a handful of you, so I hope it's more of a dialogue. So let's start. Okay, so teaching abroad, and I'm using pictures all from, my experiences. So first I'm going to talk about teaching abroad, and then I'll get more specifically into teaching for a special purpose. So these are my teaching abroad experience. So the first one I'm talking about, here's a quote that I hear the most. Hey, you don't even need to have a degree to get a good job. Schools will accept anyone who speaks English. Okay, so when I was teaching abroad, that's what they were saying. They're like, you know what? If you're white and you speak English, we'll take you, right? That was the belief, and in certain cases, it is very true, because I had people in my program who they didn't have that kind of that teaching background, right? They had a bachelor's, so it kind of depends on which program that you're teaching at. Obviously, the more prestigious ones will require you to have a degree. Here in America, we focus on the TESOL certificate, right? So as long as you have your TESOL certificate, you're good. But abroad, they also accept another certificate. Do you guys know what that is? CELTA. There you go. That is another hot potato word that you need to know. So there are 2 degrees that they accept when you're teaching abroad. The first is your TESOL, which all of you should have when you graduate, and you guys will actually have a master's in it, so it's even better. The second certificate is the CELTA. Now, CELTA is not accepted here in the United States, but is accepted abroad a lot, and most people do CELTA because it's faster. It's like a 3-week, 1-month program, and the other ones are, and it's cheaper. So yes, if you want a higher pay, you're going to need that degree, right? That's just kind of, and the minimum is a bachelor's. And regardless of what that bachelor's is, they will accept you. So you don't have to major in English literature, you don't have to major in linguistics or TESOL, it can be any kind of background. And they will take you for teaching abroad. So, that's kind of that. So, too often, teachers who go to another country soon return home disenchanted because things do not turn out the way they expected. Right? I have a lot of friends who have said, go teach abroad. And they're like, and they see my pictures and they get excited, and they go abroad and they come back immediately. They're like, okay, so they end their contract and they come back, right? And I'm like, what? Why? It's so fun. It's so rare for you to go abroad. Like, why would you want to come back? So, what should you do? How should you prepare yourself so that you can better teach abroad? So do some meditation. That's me trying to look lost. I was lost, actually. I was in the palace in Cambodia, and I was like, where is this place? It was kind of big. So what should you do? What are the steps that you should take so that you can be more prepared when you want when you go teach abroad. First is, and the most important is, go with a purpose in mind. Go with a purpose in mind. It could be money, right? You have to keep something in mind. Depending on what country you go to, the pay is different. The pay is different. For example, when I was in China, guess how much the pay was a month? A lot. If you are super duper lucky, you may get $500 a month. Okay, in China, $500 a month, and that's if you're lucky. A lot of my friends, colleagues, they started off at $200 a month. But you have to keep in mind, you are full. A full meal, like a delicious meal, costs you $1, right? And you have somewhere to go. Housing is paid for, right? Housing is paid for. Your airfare is paid for. There's nothing to spend, and sometimes they included food for you. So the place that I taught at in China was this Qingdao University. They provided food for me, but it was like dorm food, like school food, so you go to the cafeteria and eat that food. So everything was provided for, so I had that $200 extra, right? But, so living expenses over there is super cheap. So $200 or $500 goes a long way, right? Now, when I taught in Vietnam, how much is the pay, you think, per month? Can you guess? Guess? 200, 700? It was about 1,800 a month.
What?
Let me tell you something. Vietnam is one of the top countries to go teach abroad in. So there's like a list, they made a list of one of the top countries to teach abroad in. Vietnam, I think it's number 4 or so. Why? The pay is very high for instructors. Cost of living is extremely cheap. You will be living like a king or queen in Vietnam, I guarantee you. I guarantee. So there are a lot of expats. It's a growing number of expats in Vietnam. Just so you can get an idea, a doctor with his own, like a doctor, really good doctor, makes about $500 a month. Okay? Doctor, $500 a month. Average person, like Carl's Jr. or whatever, they make about $100 a month, $150 a month. So if you're making $1,800 a month, can you imagine how much money you have extra? So a lot of people travel, they eat a lot, they do all the fine things that they can't do when they're here, right? So I have friends that, for example, I have a friend, his name is Alex, he's from here. He went back to Vietnam. His purpose was to stay, just for me, like me, a year. Guess how long he ended up staying? 4 years.
Wow.
He stayed for 4 years, he just got back. He got engaged over there, and now he's marrying his wife here, so he didn't even think. He's the most Americanized guy in everything. He's like, oh no, I'm not gonna get a girl over there. Married one. So, go with the purpose in mind. Is it money? I went back, so is it for money, right? If you want the best paint, the best place to work, Japan, $3,000, $4,000 a month. Okay, private tutoring, easily $100 an hour. Okay, so Japan, very nice if you want money. Or what is your purpose? Is your purpose to travel, sightseeing? Like I chose China because there are so many things I want to see in China. China to me is very interesting. So I was like, oh my God, this is a great place to tour while teaching, making some money at the same time. Yes?
Is this 3,000 to 4,000 degree in TESOL or just like going with the bachelor's?
Okay, so there is this thing. You can go to these countries with only a bachelor's, but you will need a degree. You will need a CELTA or a TESOL. But here's the thing, they have programs abroad for you to do a combined. So for example, the program that I work with in Vietnam, ILA, they offered a CELTA Express program. So if you go through their CELTA program, which is a 1-month program, after you've gone through it, you'll get the certificate and they'll hire you. So it's okay if you don't have it, ahead of time. You can get it abroad. Right? But I think it's just easier to get your certificate now, right? And so when you apply, they will pay you at a higher rate, or it's just less tedious for you, I say be prepared before you go abroad, right? Lock in on your job before you go abroad. Is it for adventure? Is it people, culture? Whatever it is, go with a purpose in mind. For most people, it's just to see the country. Most of my friends that are country hopping, they don't really quite care about the money. They just want to go and travel and make some money at the same time. And I have friends that are still country hopping now. It's been 10 years and they're still going around the world teaching, right? But for me personally, my point, the purpose that I went to teach abroad was to develop professionally. I got my master's, I finished my bachelor's and then I finished my master's, and right after I got my master's, like, oh my god, what am I doing with my life? Linguistics, what is that? Who's gonna hire linguistics? Okay, I don't even know what it means. TESOL, what? Right, so I didn't know what to do, so I was like, okay, the best experience you're going to have, like the best way to build up your teaching experience, I really believe it's teaching abroad. Do you know why? No? You can build, they give you a lot of leeway. There's a lot of room for you to experiment different teaching methodologies, right? You can experience different kinds of teaching methods, and the best thing is you won't get fired. Right? That's what I mean. So like for example here, like I teach here at the American Language Program. There are things I want to try, but you know, part of me wants to go with the curriculum. There's a curriculum, I have to abide to it, so I'm kind of scared, like I might lose my job tomorrow, right? But when you're abroad, you can try different teaching methods and you'll be okay, right? And the great thing is they have a very, very strong support program for their expats. So all the expats, like all the people that live abroad, they stick together, right? They stick together. And the schools that you teach at will have a lot of teaching resources. All the teaching resources that I acquired abroad, they're illegal, of course. I brought them all back to me, and I use them in my teaching every single day. So it's a great way to figure out, hey, what is your teaching style? What's your teaching method? And how to become comfortable with teaching, because those people won't judge you. You won't lose your job over it. It's kind of like risk-free experience, and it's fun. So that motivated me. So I came there to build my teaching abilities, and it really, really helped. So a lot of people are like, oh, you have such creative teaching styles, whatever. I'm like, oh, it's from abroad. Oh, it's from abroad. I got this here. I stole it from this person, right? And it's very diverse. So before you go abroad, think about, hey, how much money do you want to make? Are you okay with making $200 a month, right? Or you want to make more, right? How dangerous do you want to be? Do you want to build your teaching? Things like that. Okay, next one. Study the language and culture of that host country. It is so important. If you're going to that country, please know something about that country, or you're going to hate it. You're really, really going to hate that country if you don't research that country, if you don't immerse yourself into it, right? And I'm going to show you a little video clip here. So, study the language and culture of this whole country. So here I went to Cambodia. Can you see it?
Okay, I'm going to eat this. It's a common snack here in Cambodia, but I've never eaten this before. Sorry.
It's a cockroach.
Okay, so I went to Cambodia and I was very shocked. I went to Phnom Penh and I'm like, oh, take me snacks. I want to see these snacks. I want to eat snacks, right? Because in Vietnam, where I was staying, they have, you know, like cookies and bread, like 85 degrees all around, right? Guess what snacks they had in Cambodia? Cockroaches, snails, like these fried, like deep fried insects all over on the side, right? And I was just kind of like cookies? Brownies? No, but they just had these deep fried insects all around the planet. I was like, oh my god, so I I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it, right? And so how I was riding was I was in a tuk-tuki, which is like a little cart, and there's someone like, pedaling. I think it's called toki. I can't remember. Tuk-tuki? Oh, a tuk-tuk. There you go, tuk-tuk. So it's like a cart that you sit in and people take you around, which is like their high roller taxi over there. Yes, I just tried those fried insects. You gotta get into the culture to really, or else you're gonna hate it. If you don't understand it, if you don't do it and you don't understand it, you're gonna hate it. And you're gonna hate that whole experience while you're there. And that would just waste your whole abroad experience. The next thing I really strongly suggest you do is contribute to the local culture through volunteer social educational activities. Don't just teach, go home, or teach, travel, get really involved in the culture. So for me, I visited a handicapped kind of hospital, right? I volunteered there, I played with the kids. Here for animals, and then here I went to the farmlands to help the farmers. Just like a day in rural area, see how it's like in their lives there. And you will see that it's completely different than your expat life. So let me say this again so it stays in your head. When you go travel abroad, your lifestyle, even though you're in that country, you're going to be very sheltered. You're going to have this expat lifestyle because you make more, you look different. They're going to introduce you to different spots that locals don't usually do, right? But then when you but if you actually reach out and do all those other things, you'll kind of see. So for example, my program, what was really popular was that they had this Saigon ride. So so all the instructors, all the faculty, they rode their motorbike from northern Vietnam to southern Vietnam to raise money for children so that they have bicycles. All the instructors got together to do this, and so they got to see all of Vietnam, riding from North California. North Vietnam to southern Vietnam. Sorry. So be involved, be active, and it will change you. I promise. Okay. This is going to be the most important factor. Learn to expect the unexpected. This is going to be the most important thing you'll take home today if you want to teach abroad. Learn to expect the unexpected. So what do I mean? I'll go into detail. I was raised here in Southern California all my life. And as you know, it's very usual. So like most of my friends, guess what? They're Asian. Right? It's just kind of normal. You hang out in your group, right? So a lot of my friends here are Asian. So if you go on my Facebook, all my friends are Asian. Now, if you look at my time period when I was teaching abroad, they're all like different ethnicities. So when I was teaching here, they thought I was in America. And when I was in Vietnam teaching, they thought I was in America. When I'm in America, they thought I was in Vietnam, right? So learn to expect the unexpected. And the cool thing you will learn is that you'll get to listen to English from everywhere. So like one girl, she's from Scotland, the other one's from England, the other one's from New Zealand. Like you'll think, oh, there's other English besides American English. And this is where you're gonna pick up different Englishes. And it's so, it's gonna really help you in your ESL teaching experience, because when you have international students come in, they're gonna say different things. Like for example, they're gonna say Z instead of Z. And now if you don't know that, you're gonna be like, no, you have bad pronunciation. It's not Z, it's supposed to be Z. But if you taught abroad and you heard it, you'd be like, oh, no, that's British English, right? Americans, we say Z, right? So it just kind of gives you that kind of background that would really help you in your international student teaching. Because just FYI, they do by Cambridge or like an Oxford kind of curriculum. They do more like an English, British English curriculum more than an American curriculum abroad. Okay. You'll have really cute kids or not, right? I experienced, when you're teaching abroad, it is very difficult to get into university level. I was very fortunate to teach university in China, but it's very, very difficult. Most of the time, you're going to be teaching in like an after-school English program kind of deal. Okay, that's like the majority. Whether you're in Korea or in Japan, Vietnam, wherever. I can only speak for Asian countries because I only taught there. Most likely, you'll be teaching in an English after-school program. So you see them after hours. You're gonna see weird signs. Like stuff only, no people. It's like a null space. You know, you're gonna see random signs, and trust me, you're going to start appreciating those funny signs. You know, so I actually started to compile funny signs abroad. So when you go abroad, you're gonna see these funky signs. Just, you know, keep it. This is going to be your best friend. Prune juice. Do you know why? When you use prune juice, do you know? Why? Why is prune juice your best friend? When you can't go. So when you're stuck. Okay, so you're gonna need this because sometimes you're gonna have those days where you're stuck, and trust me, prune juice is heavenly. You're gonna think, oh my gosh. So this is something that I always look for when I study abroad. So there's three bottles, different kind of bottles I need. So first is my prune juice because, yeah, you'll be stuck. This is your second thing that you really need. Orange juice and ginger ale. Why? Why do you need orange juice and ginger ale?
Because you want to be stuck.
This is to stop it. Okay, so you guys should make mental notes of this because you're gonna get food poisoning. I got food poisoning in almost every country now, so now it's almost impossible for me. I can eat everything under the sun now, right? Because I ate everything when I traveled, and when you eat everything, something's gonna happen to you. And so orange juice and ginger ale is going to be your best friend. It's gonna stop it. I'll kind of show you how to mix it. So you have a cup. I would fill it up halfway with ginger ale, halfway with halfway ginger ale, halfway orange juice, and I put salt. You know, put salt around the rims, just like a margarita. Perfect. It really, really helps because Imodium, when you drink too much Imodium, it's not healthy, right? You know that. Do you guys know Imodium? It's a medication to, you know, stop your number twos. This works better. It's a healthier way to stop yourself. So please keep that in mind. Learn to expect. I never ever imagined that I would have to be like a local, right? So I bought a moped. I bought my own moped. This is me in Vietnam. This is how I went to work every day. Right? This is me going to work every day. Look at me now, right? So that's me going to work. It's so dusty in Vietnam. My daily routine is I dress all pretty, you know, my teacher gear, and then I come out. I have to have this kind of sweater to cover the sun. I have my gloves, sunglasses, a cap, a helmet. I didn't wear my socks, but I usually wear socks. And then I ride my moped to work. And this is my means of transportation. They have taxis. I don't trust them because they'll give you private tours of the city that you don't want, and they rack up your bill. But seriously, the best way is to live like a local. So I just bought a moped, and that's my means of transportation. That's how I survived when I was in Taiwan and when I was in Vietnam. That's how I got around. So you would never expect yourself to get accustomed to these very, you know, to the lifestyle there, but you will. You will. I just had to expect the unexpected. So I had girlfriends that, you know, they're Westerners. They can't squat. They fall over. I'm a professional squatter now, I'll tell you that. But please practice this because there won't be Western toilets for you, you know, in certain areas. And this is it. And for the longest time, I was confused. I was like, which way do I face? Like, I remember, like, I said, I'm like, okay, so, which way do I face, right? It was a very difficult question. And that answer, what is the answer? Do you guys know? Do you guys want to guess? This way, that way? Well, I've asked almost every local, and they all give me different answers. So the answer is whatever's good for you. Just pick a spot and go. So this was very difficult for some people. So expect the unexpected, right? Okay, I put this picture there. It must look very nice to you, right? This is one of my horrible moments when I was teaching abroad. So the school that I taught at, they had like a winter holiday, like a winter party kind of deal. I had my moped at that time. So I live in the rich area, so it kind of takes me a while to get there. So after the party ended like around 2 o'clock. In Vietnam, things shut down like around 8 or 9 p.m. Right? So around 8 or 9 p.m. things shut down. It's not like OC where things are open 24 hours, right? So I was riding home on my little moped, dressed like this. I didn't do my, Vietnam gear. So I was riding on my moped, and at that time my purse was really big because I had, people giving me their cameras and things. So I put it in the front of my moped. So I was riding home, and then all of a sudden, I felt my bike swerve, right? It swerved, and then my legs kicked, right? It kicked up. Thank God I was wearing killer 3-inch heels. So it kicked and it hit a guy at the bottom. And I was like, and I blanked out for a moment. I'm like, why is there a guy down there? It was just me by myself in the middle of the night. And so I looked up, and there was a guy. So there's a moped next to me. There's a guy riding it. There's a guy in the back, and he was yanking on my purse, right? And I was very scared because at that, after hours is very clear. Like nobody goes outside. Like you just don't, and you text him or whatever. So I look. There's like no one around, and it's very dark. And there's just this guy yanking on my purse. I was like, what do I do, right? But thank God they kept yanking, and they didn't succeed, and so they sped off, right? So I have to praise the Lord that nothing happened to me. But one of the things that, iPhones, I used my iPhone, I lost about 4 iPhones during that 1 year. And I was my friend, he was just out, he got out of his hotel, just talking, someone drove by, took it, okay? One of my friends was on a back seat with a necklace just on the back of, we have like moped taxis, right? So she was on a moped taxi, someone went by, yanked her necklace, right? Things happen when you're abroad, and so learn to expect the unexpected. So needless to say, after that experience, all my purses went inside a really ugly black plastic bag. Right? I just put everything in like an ugly plastic bag, and I put it in the front. I didn't show my fancy purse or anything. So things will happen to you. You're gonna break down and cry. But you just pick yourself up and you kind of continue your teaching abroad experience, I guess, and you welcome it. So learn to expect the unexpected. But one of the best unexpected things that you will experience is to develop professionally. Okay, that's one of the best things. The greatest thing, there are 2 things that I'm thankful for when I taught abroad that helped me professionally was, 1, I developed professionally. Like I figured out what's the best teaching style for me. That's the first one. The second one is networking. You're going to meet so many people from so many walks of life. Like if I go to Korea, I have someone. If I go to Russia, I have someone. If I go to Germany, I have someone. It's so nice to have that really strong network when you're teaching abroad. So make all the friends that you can. And what's great is that the contracts, when you're teaching abroad, they come in and they leave. They come in and they leave, right? And so they will hand you jobs. So for example, this one, it's one of the top, so this was an accounting kind of online company in Vietnam. So I was teaching business English here. So someone before me had to go back, their contract ended, right? And so they came to me like, hey Teresa, you want this class? I gotta, so we're teaching English at this company, da da da. And I'm like, yeah. And you get that teaching job, right? So you will be handed jobs that people would not trust you with here in America, right? Like, if you don't have that strong teaching experience on your resume in America, forget about it. They're not gonna let you teach it, right? But when you're teaching abroad, they don't resume. They just said, hey, you speak English? Great, come, right? One of my favorite experiences was here. These were my students. They were training to be hoteliers. So they would take my class first. I would prep them on how to be the best hoteliers, like working in a hotel. And then after that, so that was part 1, they were with me. Part 2, then they went to Singapore. And they were put into different hotels to carry out what they learned with me. So that's where I learned my wines. I never knew my wines and my cheese then. I didn't know the proper placing of your forks and your knives. I didn't know all of that. But through this class, I learned it. And would someone trust me with that here? No way, no way. Because I had none of that, right? But they trusted me abroad, and I was able, and through that, I gained teaching experience, right? So that's one of the most valuable things you'll take teaching abroad, is that you will be able to teach things that people will not trust you here otherwise, right? So professional development. So how do you get this? You just fall into it. And now I'm very grateful that half of my teaching experience abroad is not just ESL, it's like business English, all these specialized English. And where did I get that from abroad, right? It was handed to me. Otherwise, it's very difficult for you to step your foot into the door. So now here at the AOP, in addition to teaching just regular English, like the ESL classes, I also teach business English. And where did my business English experience come from? When I was abroad, right? So that's about it. Questions? Are you guys dying? Yes?
What was your favorite place to teach? Or where was your favorite place to teach?
My favorite place to teach? Oh, that's hard. Okay. I will tell you this. After traveling to so many countries, they all start to look the same. like I was excited for the first couple of countries, but after you start traveling a lot, you're like, oh, this just looks like this. Oh, this looks like this. Like it all starts looking the same. And you know what makes it memorable? It's the people that you meet when you're there. Like I know it sounds cliche, like oh yeah, but like seriously, it really is. Like so when I go, I'm like, oh yeah, I met Alan when I was in China, or I met James Cheng when he was, like you met like these great people that you met there, and you had these great experiences. Yeah, so it's, I don't know. Yeah, I say, like, honestly, if you want to teach abroad and you're very scared, do the European countries first, right? Do something that's very familiar to you. And then travel, on. Or if you want to get right into it, then go to your Asian countries, but there are countries that are very popular because it has a very strong support group, like Korea, Japan, Vietnam. Those countries they're famous for getting ESL instructors, right? So that's something that you want to think about. Any other questions? No? Yes?
You mentioned about having a TESOL certificate. What if you don't have that, and instead of that, you have a teaching credentials on here? That substitute?
No. Teaching credentials are different. Teaching credentials for K through 12, TESOLs for teaching ESL, right? It doesn't replace, you either have to have a CELTA or a TESOL. Teaching credentials, sorry. But they have accelerated programs, like I said. 1 month, you'll get it. Yeah. Anything else?
How did you apply for all those positions abroad?
Yeah, so I'm very, how did I know about those teaching positions? You will have, so once you get your foot into that country, there will be other instructors who are there, like, so for example, when I start my contract, there'll be other instructors who's like finishing up their contract, they're moving on to another country. And so you just kind of keep in contact with them. Like you can follow along to be like, oh yeah, come over here. This is really great. So like when I was ending, I had another instructor who went to Dubai and he stayed there. He's like, oh my God, Teresa, you got to teach in Dubai. It is so awesome here, And so you just kind of follow along. So there's like a whole network. Like it's like an underground network, right? Like once you get in, like on board, like there will be people before you and they will show you and you just follow along. So that's all.
To get involved in that network.
So for me, I was traveling through Vietnam, like just for fun, and I saw some schools, and I just went in. I was like, hey, buddy, you have a job? What kind of program is this? Is it a good program? Like things like that. So I did my research beforehand, and then I came back and I applied, and then I went there. But now you guys know me, right? I still have that network. I still have people I can point you guys to. So if you guys are very interested in teaching abroad, I still have friends that are teaching abroad, and they would be more than, I can connect you to them depending on where you guys want to teach. The highest paying guys, Saudi Arabia. Super, super high paying. He's been there for like 5 years. He never left because he's like, Teresa, money is so good. Money is so good, right? Like, so he's been there. He never left, right? I have a friend now who's governess of 2 very rich kids in Russia. So she went from teaching abroad to like a governess in Russia. She has her own private plane, like private jet, private room, private house, all these different. No, they support it for like, they just pay her salary. But she goes on the family trips and she just teaches them English, right? So, I mean, there's a lot of opportunities, but I say do it. And then when you go out and you start teaching, you'll figure out what your teaching philosophy is, bring it back, and then get a real stable job like I am. Right? I think that's the best way to go. So if you want to explore your teaching craft, do it abroad, especially because you're linguistics and TESOL. Like, you can do it, right? So just go, do it. You're going to cry. Things are going to happen to you. You're going to get mugged, whatever. Just come back and get a real job. Yeah, you're good. Any other questions? Yes?
What's your average stay on this month?
Average stay, about 9 months. Yeah, so they have like 7 months, 9 months, 12 months, right? Oh, let me give you a hint, I'm so glad. It's better to apply when you're here than when you're there. Because if you apply when you're not in that country, they pay for your airfare, they pay for your adjustment fee, like they give you like a little adjustment money in the beginning just so you get yourself sorted out to culture shock and things like that. And they pay for your hotel for the first whatever week. So it depends on the program, but definitely if you apply when you're not in that country, they pay for that difference. Okay? So don't go there and then find a job. It's very hard. I had a friend that did that and he ended up coming back. So you want to lock in on a job when you're here, safe, happy, right? When you still have money. Okay. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah. So feel free to come to me and I can give you the contacts. So let's do a little workshop practice. Right? You guys ready to move up? I think you guys have been sitting for too long. Okay, so we're going to practice the natural skills of teaching. Okay, the natural skills of teaching. So what I realized as I teach, right? So as I gain my teaching experience, I realized that there are 2 things that are required within a teacher, like an instructor. The first is the natural skills. That means your facial expressions, your things that are just in you, right? There's those teaching skills that you have. That's the first thing. And the second thing is the props. The props that's going to help you teach better, right? That'll be like PowerPoint, pictures, things like that. So for right now, I don't think we have time for that third aspect, so I'm going to focus on this. So right now, we're going to focus on the natural skills. How can you teach so that you're more engaging, so that students pay attention to you more? So let's do this. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I want to start out with a quote. Excellent teaching skills involve what? Class? Tell me.
Facial expression.
Yes. Facial expressions and
Body
language and vocal expression. All those 3 things are the natural skills, right? You don't realize it, but now that I've been a master teacher for some time now, I had some interns. Oh, Yuan's my intern. You'll realize that all the new instructors, they'll most likely teach like this to their students. This is very normal. Right? It's very normal to just stay here. You stay in one spot, you don't move, you're scared. What happens if I leave my comfort zone? Right? They just stay in one spot, there's no facial expression, their tone is just like this. It's very normal. Me too. I first started teaching when I was like 21 at UCI, almost peed in my pants, right? I was so nervous. They're older, so we're gonna work on this today. So here we go. So look at each picture below. I would like you to look at each picture below, 1 through 6. Now, if you could please go sit next to a partner. So I want you guys to move up and find a partner, and then I'll continue more. So you have a partner? Everyone has a partner? Here up. Go meet people you never worked with. Make friends. Make friends.
I think we lost Tiffany.
Oh, we lost Tiffany.
We lost Tiffany.
Okay.
I think it went to the screensaver
Oh,
mode.
thanks.
And you're going to need a cell phone. Yeah, you're going to need a cell phone. So get a partner and take out a cell phone that actually records, that actually functions. Not just calling A and B, but actually, does smart things. So get a phone that does smart things with a partner. Everyone has a partner. John Marshall, who are you going to join? Eric? Okay, great. All right. Okay, you guys are all good? So here we go. So look at each picture below, 1 to 6. Work with a partner and decide which emotion is expressed in each picture. So these are the facial expressions. You got happiness, frustration, anger, boredom, sadness, and doubt. So these are the different facial expressions. I'm giving you examples here. So let's go across. We're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? So discuss a bit with your partners. Which facial expressions are these?
One's anger. Number 2 is happiness. I think number 3 is doubt or sass. I think it's sass. Sass an option.
Remember, these are just examples, so definitely come up with your own if you have any.
4 is like really actually, number 5 looks like sass. That's more sass. Yeah, it's like doubt / sass. Number 6 is sadness. That's just like super depression. I hate you.
You guys are done? Finished? Okay, so let's go over this. What do you think this is?
Anger.
Anger. Disgust? Maybe. Okay, anger. What do you have here?
Space cadet.
What? I heard it. And then epiphany. Aha. Okay, what do you think this is? Like what? What? What's going on? Right? How about this?
Laughter.
What kind of quote? What do you think this is? Happiness, right? Okay, how about this?
Sass.
What? What? Tell me. What do you guys think?
Doubt.
Doubt? Yeah, doubt like say what? What are you talking about? What do you? This is very obvious.
Sad.
Okay, so I just want to show you that hey, facial expressions have very different feelings. Yes, will give off different vibes. So with you and your partner, here we go. So with your partner, take turns selecting an emotion randomly from the list below. Okay. So take turns selecting an emotion randomly from the list below. Do not tell your partner which one you are selecting. Do not tell your partner which one you are selecting. That's very key. Don't be like, I'm going to do fear now. Right? So so do not tell them what you're going to do. And express it on your face. And express it on your face. Your partner is then going to guess which emotion you are expressing. If your partner cannot guess, try to exaggerate the motion, right? So if your partner is just like, huh? Okay, or they're guessing something completely off, then you know you have really bad facial expression, right? You know that you gotta practice some more. Okay, so do this for each emotion below. Now, why did I tell you to take your cell phones? Partners, take your phones out. You're gonna take pictures. You're going to take pictures, no, not of this. I want you to take out your camera on your smart devices and take pictures of your own face. I'm going to spice this up a little bit. Take pictures of your face, doing the different expressions, right? Or when you're doing your expressions, tell your partner to record for you. So that way you know how your face looks like, right? Because rarely do we know how our faces look like. I mean, we don't know how we look like when we're angry or sad or things like that. We don't know what kind of we're like. I have people are just stone-faced. I'm happy. I'm sad. It's the same, right? So you don't know. But it's very important when you're teaching, especially when you're teaching ESL, because you're using body language. You're not using words. It's not there yet. So here we go. With your partner, do each expression, right? Take pictures of yourself, or they can take a picture of you and see if they guessed correctly. And I'll go around and see what the results are.
Good job. Okay.
Not selfies. We're gonna take a picture. Not selfies. Don't take pictures. I'm tired. Make sure they guess correctly. Okay, make sure they're correctly.
He's my colleague. He works.
Smells like
So, did everyone take pictures of their faces yet? Of the different expressions? You all have your face on your, okay, like separately, not couple selfies. Okay, so did you guys all get separate pictures of yourself with the different expressions? Okay, great. I want you guys to all stand up, and you're going to go around and show your picture to someone, and they're going to guess, what is this? What is this? And if they guess wrong, you know their face wasn't right. So go up, stand up and share. Stand up and share what your faces are to people. Go, make it nice.
It's gonna be a shaky part.
You're in trouble if it all looks the same. Right? If it looks all the same, you know you need to practice more. So stand up, you guys share. Share your selfies. Share your selfies. See if they guess correctly.
Anxiety?
it looks like happiness.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
So do your selfies and share.
Let's show this one. Camera.
You can give it to me. I will try and guess. I'm pretty good with guessing. Let's see. It's okay. We all look the same in our selfies.
This is like really good work.
Is it static?
Something in between. This is what you
That's not good if people say, what is that? What is that? That's not good.
What you've got? Is that this? Fear? Sadness.
Oh, really?
Oh, I used to get What is this? Fear?
There was emotion. I saw the smile.
Oh, fear.
No, it's actually before, because do you need water?
So that's quite different, because otherwise you can do it like that.
Okay, thank you.
Pleasure.
All right. So, what did you discover? Are you good?
No.
I will tell you this. You're gonna realize two things. One, that you have no facial expression whatsoever. You're gonna realize that either one, you have no facial expression, or two, you're going to be very standard. Happy, sad, right? So you're gonna realize you're gonna make very, very standard facial expressions, which is totally fine as long as you have one, right? The reason, let me kind of tell you my teaching philosophy before we kind of go into this. So, when I was going through uni, my master's things, I had a lot of instructors who were just lecture and then, lecture students. And I hated school, fall asleep all the time. I hated school, I just want to get in and get out. Finish bachelor's in 3 years, master's in 1. I hated school. Guess what? I'm still in school. I'm teaching in school. And my teaching philosophy is what? I want to have a very interactive kind of classroom. I want a classroom where my students are very engaged. And if you have ESL students, you have to double or triple that because they won't understand you, right? Of a cultural difference, of language difference, so you have to be double that. So I would like all of you to just put all your efforts into this, but please keep in mind this is my teaching philosophy. I teach like this. I teach with a lot of facial expressions, a lot of body language, a lot of interaction. Okay, so if this is something that you would prefer, then this is it for you. All right, so we're gonna go to our second exercise. Oops, sorry, I think I kind of skipped this. So now, discuss with your partner what hand gesture or body language you could use to enhance the expressions of each emotion listed above. Try again, so I want you to try again to imitate one of the facial expressions, but what are you going to do now? Add a hand gesture and see if your partner can guess the emotion you're trying to express better. So before you just had your facial expressions, now add a hand gesture, right? See if it adds to your expressions, okay? So do your selfies, but here, let me give you the list again. Do your selfies, but add hand gestures. Okay, someone else will take your picture then. I used to have a selfie stick. You guys don't have your selfie stick here? Okay, so maybe your partner can take pictures for you. Have your partner take pictures for you. I think that would help. I can take it for you. Okay, here you go. Okay. Ready? Okay, second one. 1, 2, and go. 1, 2. Okay, third one. Are you ready? 1, 2, and go. No? Okay, all right. Where's the third one? Third one is pleasure. That's pleasure. That's pleasure. No. One number 6, pleasure. Number 3, pleasure. Okay, yours is pleasure. Okay, pleasure. Here we go.
If you do, you're spot on.
Okay. That's okay. Let's get boredom. Okay, here we go. Boredom. Here we go. Hand gestures and sadness. Okay, all right. Yes, I got it. Okay, who else needs me to take a picture for them? No? Everyone got a partner?
Okay, we're crying.
Do you do pictures with hand gestures? With a hand. You're good. You're a pro. So, all right, once you're finished with your pictures with hand gestures, again, please go around and see if people can guess correctly, right? See if people can guess correctly. Share your hand gestures.
That's fear?
Okay, good.
That looks like terror, like unadulterated terror. That's that.
Pensive?
Anger?
Oh, this was anxiety.
Oh.
I tried to do this. Well, you're not supposed to tell me. I'm supposed to guess. Everyone stand up. Share your pictures. Share your pictures.
No, no.
I don't. It just happened on accident. I was just like, because everybody. No, sorry. I don't know what happened. I think you were expressing we're curious. And then wait, this is her expression, and then this is Teresa's reaction. She's like, what? Which one is that?
Really good facial expression. I also can't like. I have a really bad poker face actually. Like I have the opposite problem. Everyone can tell I don't know. I'm very expressive.
So are you guys ready? Yes? So what did you guys think? Was it easier or more difficult with the hand gestures? Easier. A lot easier, right? So I want you to keep that in mind. One thing I want to say when you're teaching, a lot of my students, they do half arm gestures. They go like this, here, right? It looks really funky. I just have to say that. So when I'm pointing, I'm pointing. When I'm using something, so I tell my students, like, you know, when I tell them, you want to do open space. I tell them to, you know. And trust me, I know it looks weird, but your pointing will be different because automatically you're going to want to do this. And this looks weird, right? Versus this. Hey, look over here. There, we have this, right? It's different. But you don't feel that, and you can't see that. Right? So hand gestures really, really bring out your facial expressions. So now we're going to practice voice. Are you ready? So with a partner, I want to choose your partner. I want you to say each sentence below using each emotion given. You're going to say the sentence with the attached emotion. Okay? Express the emotions using the tone of your voice. So, I will give you an example for A. There are so many books. Oh, there are so many books. Do you guys see the difference? That will really help you. So, there you go with your partner. I want you guys to practice this. Then let them guess. See if they guess correctly the emotion. Okay? See if they guess correctly the emotion. So, practice with your partner. Go.
How many times have you lost your phone?
Wait, do you want to? Or you just think you
It's not.
so many. Okay, there we go. Oh, so you're with her.
How many times have you lost your phone?
If your partner cannot recognize what emotion that is, you should practice again.
People are like, really? Oh, this is totally It's snowing. Snowing. It's snowing. Really?
I suggest if you can, you video record yourself to see how you do this. You will know from your videos that it is nothing like that. So if you want to take it a step further, record yourself. But I'm going to ask for some volunteers soon. Okay? I'm going to go around, give you the microphone. I'm going to ask you to do it. Okay? So practice now with your partner.
That was a little scary.
Very nice.
It's like I'm missing. eyebrow.
All right, you guys ready?
Curious.
Action! Here we go. C. Really?
Is that excitement? Okay. Okay, so you know.
So you know when people are like, oh, really? Okay, so I'm gonna tell you, why don't we do this? I'm gonna pass around the microphone. I want you guys to just choose a sentence and choose an emotion. And we're going to guess what that emotion is. Sounds good? Okay.
There's so many books. There's so many books.
Guess?
Oh.
Okay, let's try it again. Let's try it again.
Frustration.
There are so many books.
That sounds like confusion.
What is that? Can you guys guess? Delight? Happiness? Uh-oh. Let's try it again.
There are so many books.
That sounds like frustration.
Okay, good. So at the third time, very good. All right, here we go.
How many times have you lost your phone?
Good. You got it right.
Really?
Boredom? Yay! All right, let's go over here and we'll put some people up here. Let's do this.
It's snowing.
Sad.
Your cousin always do this.
Really? Yell it out. What do you think it is?
Sad.
How many times have you lost your phone?
That's sassy.
It's snowing.
What is that?
Okay. All right.
So I'm glad you got to practice this a little bit. All right, let's move on. So that was the end of our practice. Do you want me to go into the learn skills PowerPoint? Do you guys want me to go into that? Okay. I suggest you guys take notes on this. So this is something that I taught to Soka University students in Japan. How to have a killer PowerPoint. So we just finished with our natural skills, and now we're going to go into our learn skills, which is PowerPoint. PowerPoint is something that you can learn to become better at, right? So let's kind of work on this. I suggest you take notes. Okay, designing an effective PowerPoint or a teaching tool. So it has to be big, has to be simple, has to be clear, progressive, and consistent. Don't worry, you don't remember all that. I don't. Okay, so we're going to be hitting these 5 points for tonight. Okay, the first one is make it big. Okay, you want to make it big. Let's look at all these different texts. Okay, so what's the best text? What do you, or let's say, at what line is good? From what line beyond is a good font size? 32 through 44? That's too small. Oh, wait, just joking. Okay, let me go back. So that's too small. So actually from 24, you're okay. So from 24, 32, 36, 44, you're okay. Okay, how do you know? How do you know, hey, that's a good font size? How do you know? I'm sorry?
If you're not struggling to read it.
If you're not struggling to read it, how do you know? Because when you're making your PowerPoint, you're on your computer, right? And you can zoom in the view, right?
Look at it from a distance.
You have to look at it from a distance. Very good. So how do you estimate? Look at it from 2 meters away. So you're going to have your PowerPoint up, so you know the view slideshow on your PowerPoint. So view slideshow, and then take 2 meters, which is about 2.5 yards. And if you can still see that on the screen, if you can read that from the screen, then you're good to go. You're good to go. So kind of keep that in mind. 2 yards away from your computer screen, if you can still read it, it's a good size. Okay. Point 2. You want to keep it simple. Yes, keep it simple. Okay. Too many colors. I know a lot of girls, this is usually a girl problem, right? I'll be honest, this is usually a girl problem. I have students that want to be fancy. Too many colors. Too many, what?
Fonts and styles.
Yeah, that's way too many. There's a 6x7 rule. Have you guys heard of the 6x7 rule? Yeah. Well, now you know. No more than 6 lines per slide. 6 lines per slide and 7 words per line. Okay, that's the 6x7 rule of thumb when you're making your PowerPoint. Okay, you don't want to exceed that because otherwise it will look too crammed, too crowded. Okay, let's talk about this. So keep it simple. So for example, you give me a definition. You're teaching a class, you're going to give a definition to this. Instructional technology, a complex integrated process involving people, procedures, ideas, devices, and organization for analyzing problems and devising, implementing, evaluating, and managing solutions to those problems in situations in which learning is purposive and controlled. Do you want to put all that on your slide?
No.
Yeah, that's right. Right? Your students, when they read this, they're like, huh? I can get this from my textbook. Right? So you, as a teacher, anything that you put on your PowerPoint, it must be what?
Simple.
Simple. So what are you going to do? You're going to?
Make it simple.
You're going to simplify your definition. Okay? A process involving people, procedures, and tools for solutions to problems in learning. That's it. Okay? That's how you want to be much simpler. So keep in mind, it has to be very simple. You don't want to just copy and paste from the textbook on. Your job on a PowerPoint is to make it simple. Think bullet points. Think short keywords, content words, not filler words. Here's another example. Okay, so you have a chart. Okay, you have Delhi, Mumbai, Goa, here are all the months. You're trying to measure how many falling leaves there are. How many falling leaves there is? How? How are you going to change this? How are you going to do this so that it's better on a PowerPoint? What are you going to do?
Charts.
You want to keep this. You want to keep this, but how are you going to do it? So, that's way too detailed. Ta-da! In millions. So instead of giving all these different, so this is all in the millions, yes? You guys see that, right? They're all in the millions. So instead of doing this, why? Why not do this? Right? Just cut it out and average it, estimate it, right? And you write falling leaves in millions, and you got that, right? Keep it simple, simple. Right? Here's another one. Let's talk about graphs. What do you think about this? Is this a good graph for your PowerPoint? Would you use this for your PowerPoint? No? Why not? I saw you shaking your head. Why?
I can't read the bottom.
You can't read the bottom? Okay, that's probably my fault. Okay. Okay. Why else can you read the? Why else would you not use this? You can't read the bottom.
All the lines are really confusing. Well, no, I mean the x-axis and the y-axis are just there's all the little squares everywhere.
Perfect. There's a lot of x and y axes, right? Look at all these numbers going across and down, right? It's a mumble jumble. It's a jungle there, right? It's a whole jungle. So what are you going to do? You're going to broaden your range. You don't need to write every single month, because when you don't write every single month, you can make this bigger. Can you see now, Aaron? Yes, you can. And you don't have to go 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, right? You can break up the numbers. So remember, you want to keep it simple for the individual that's viewing it. How about this? Artwork may distract your audience. Okay. It does. And this is a key sentence I want you to memorize. Artistry does not substitute content, right? A lot of people think, oh, I'm going to put a picture here and it's going to represent everything that I want to say. No, it doesn't work that way. Sometimes you do need that content in there, right? So pictures are supplement to what you have to say. It should not be the main focus. I see, I heard you guys laughing. Can you imagine? I had students that did presentations and I thought also there was like swishing and clapping and bombs and all that, right? Sound effects may distract too. Notice how you laughed. You laughed and you probably didn't even read the sentence, right? You're like, ha, right? So you don't even know what it says. So, what do you want to do? Use sound only when necessary. Ta-da! Right? So only use it when necessary. Okay? Keep it simple for transitions. And you wait, aha, there is the sentence. So this transition is very annoying, not enhancing, not at all, right? So appear and disappear is the normal one. I do fly, I like flying, right? So appear, disappear, fly, those are all the common transitions that you can do. Okay, let's talk about animation. Oh, what's next? Okay, what's wrong with this animation? Cheesy? Remember the topic. The topic is what? Keeping it simple. So what's wrong with this animation? Okay, since you are at loss, I'm going to play it one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ta-da! What's wrong? Too long. Too much time. There are too many steps, right? Too distracting. So what are you going to do? Here we go. Ta-da! Done. That's what you need. A lot of times you invest a lot of time in your PowerPoints and it's sometimes too much time, right? So this is what you want to do. Okay, simple and to the point. So our next point, you want to make it clear. Okay, your PowerPoint got to be clear, so keep it simple, keep it clear. So let's go through some examples. Capitalizations. All capital letters are difficult to read. That's something you just have to keep in mind. Completely all the capital letters, very difficult. Okay? Upper and lower cases are better, right? So I'm going to give you an example. Which one do you think is better? Sans serif or serif? I'm not even sure the pronunciation. Sans serif or serif? So let's look at these points. That's clear and that's busy. Can you see that? Because of the curly cues, it makes it more difficult for people. You guys see the sharp edges? Right? So you want to try to make your font very clear. So notice how I use Century Gothic. I love Century Gothic. It's one of my favorite fonts. Okay? Snap font is difficult to read on screen. Okay? I know some of you like to have fun PowerPoints, but seriously it's very difficult. And if you have a PowerPoint and people can't read it, there's really no point. Okay? This is what I use. Okay? Italics are difficult to read on screen. What I mean difficult is like you can barely tell the difference. Do you guys see the difference between italics and straight? Can you tell? Really? I saw his face went. That's right. So when you want to make something stand out, italics is not the way to go. Italics is not the way to go. Normal or bold. Bold is how they go. Okay? Or underlines. But the problem with underlining is what? What does it represent? Hyperlink. So you got to be careful. So most people, they do bold. Okay? That's just kind of a trick. Or to use colors. I use color, personally. I just make it a different color if I want to make it stand out. Okay, numbers. So use numbers for lists and sequence, right? A lot of people like to do paragraphs, but oftentimes it's very confusing. So if you want to do bullet points or if you guys number, it'll make it easier. So for example, how to put an elephant into a fridge. 1, open the door of the fridge. 2, put the elephant in. 3, close the door. It's very simple for you, right? 1, 2, and 3, right? So for lists, sequences, numbering is the way to go. Okay, this is just redundant. So, next one, bullets. Use bullets to show a list without without sequence. It doesn't have to be in order. It doesn't matter what order it is, right? Priority, sequence, hierarchy. I'm sorry. So, if this doesn't matter to you, then use bullets. You don't need to use 1, 2, 3. Okay. Colors. Use contrasting colors. Light on dark versus dark on light. Use complementary colors. For example, okay, can you see this? No, you can't. Okay. Low contrast, high contrast, right? So that means the better font color would be this, right? Definitely. Okay, so light on dark, dark on light. Okay, so this is light on dark. Okay, so you're using a light font on a dark background. Very simple, right? Okay, or you can use dark on light. Okay, try to use contrasting colors. Yeah, ouch, right? Ouch on the eyeballs. And you still cannot read this. Okay, so once again, they don't complement each other. So what should you do? Light on dark, dark on light. Very basic, right? Light on dark, dark on light. This is what you want to do. Okay, so these colors complement each other. Make it clear. Size. Size implies importance. So let's look at this picture. What's more important to you? Is it the picture or the words? The picture. So when you look into this, you're like, oh, the picture is the main item on this PowerPoint, right? Now what if I do this? What's the main item now? The text. The text is the main item. A lot of people, they don't take this into consideration. They're like, oh look, I have space here. I'm going to put a picture. Oh, space here. I'm going to add this more, add this, add this. It doesn't work that way, right? It doesn't work that way. Size indicate importance, right? So whatever you put bigger, people will notice that, and that will be the important factor. Okay, so I want you to keep that in mind. Okay, focal points are very important. What happens if you put your picture here? You look here to the side of my PowerPoint, and then you will look away. And then you're not going to care what's all the information that's here, right? You're going to look here, and then you're going to look off. Goodbye information here. So what do you need to do? You're going to move it over. Move it here, look here, at least they will still see the information on this side. So the way how you set up your PowerPoint, it also says a lot. Okay, next one is be progressive, innovative, right? So types of instructional tools. If you see this, how are you going to feel? Very confusing. You're like, hey, what's going on, right? What is the best way to introduce this? Right, that's too many in one go. You're getting too much information at once, right? So, what's the best way? Complexity of interactions, you talk about it. And then we have this, during your presentation, right? And then here we have this, and we have this, and then we have this, and this, and this, and this, and all of that means informational tools. It helps you when you are presenting. If you put all of it at once, you're going to be like, okay, whoa, where do I even start, right? So the PowerPoint is really helpful because it helps you with the outline of your speech. What do you have to say first? So if you feel you need to mention this first, you're going to let this pop out first, right? So it kind of gives you a flow as to what you should do, okay? So, very focused. Let's do this. Understanding technology. You're probably wondering, okay, how is this related? Okay, please keep in mind this is very old. This is during the age of floppy disks. Do you know what that is? Yeah. Okay, great. We're still the same generation. Okay, so understanding technology. What's this? This is too many and not focused. You don't know what's what. But wait, if I do this. Okay, so here's the items. This toilet here represents a computer. Okay, you have a mouse, which is very similar to the mouse we have. Main storage, here you go. Function key, software, floppy disk, I/O error, that leaked. Okay, CPU, main part, User interface, you got your debugger, right? Backup system, oh yeah. Okay, so I mean, if you were to do this, it would help explain whatever you want to get across so much easier. So think of an innovative way to introduce your topic, right? Think of an innovative way to express or explain your idea, and that would be very helpful. So you want to be consistent. Let's talk about the next topic. Differences draw attention. Differences may imply importance. Use surprises to attract and not distract. Okay, this tick, what does it do?
Draws attention.
It draws attention, right? So you're going to focus on this more. So the difference will draw the attention. But what? This is too distracting, right? You have too many bullet points. You're like, okay, so what's important here? Why do I have this design? Okay, so this implies importance because it's bolded. This is very confusing difference. You're like, okay, so which word is the main one, right? So if you kept all of them with the same color, that would be better. Okay, so use surprises to attract, not distract. Okay, so you want to keep that in mind. So in summary of our topic for today, you want to keep it big, simple, clear, progressive, and
Consistent.
yes, consistent. So last words for you. So when creating, text to support the communication. Support what you're trying to present here. I've had students that does this the whole time. When creating text to support, they just read. They read straight off of that. Or what's even worse is they have an index card and they read from their index card. That's the worst. I hate that. I see no eyeballs. I only see, I only see their forehead. That sucks. That really, really sucks. Right? And imagine 5 minutes of this will feel like 20 minutes. Right? Trust me, how many presentations I have to grade? And you're just like, right? So, I mean, use the text to help you communicate. Right? It's not supposed to be your main point. It's just to deliver. Pictures to simplify complex. So you're still going to explain, but use pictures to kind of help it explain. Animations for complex relationships. Visuals to support, not distract. Sounds only when absolutely necessary, but you don't need it all the time. I have students that make swishes every single time I slide change. Swish, swish, swish. After 20 swishes, what do you want to do? I want to swish him away, right? So, I mean, seriously, sounds only when it's absolutely necessary, right? Only when it's necessary. Think about the people in the back of the room when creating slides, right? You always want to think that last person in the corner in the back. Are they going to be able to see or experience exactly what you're delivering? Or is it only the front row people, right? So you want to be considerate of the people way in the back. Okay, so when presenting, speak loudly, clearly, direct your words to everybody, eye contact, ask questions, slides, use it as a reference, not read word for word. Very basic. Easier said than done. I will tell you this. Easier said than done. But practice it. So closing remarks. Practice your show. Before a neutral audience, ask for feedback, be sensitive to time allotted, and leave time for questions. And I want to say something. All of you, this is my teaching philosophy. I think every single time, and I tell you this all the time, every single time when you're standing in front of your students and you're teaching, it's a presentation. It's a presentation. A lot of teachers think, oh, I'm just teaching, and they just do their normal everyday thing. No. As soon as I'm standing in front of my class, I'm ready to perform. It's a presentation. And that's how you get your students engaged. That's why eye contact, arm gestures, all of those things are important because why? You're presenting your students. You gotta sell this product. Hey, my class is really fun. You're gonna want to come back. You're gonna be so excited to come back, right? That's kind of the thing that you gotta sell in front of it's a presentation, right? And how are you gonna do that with all this? And that's just my teaching philosophy, by the way. You might believe teaching is great like this. I don't know. But that's my teaching philosophy. So, I need to pass this. Thank you. Okay, so questions or anything before we end the night? you guys. Thanks for having me.
Okay, thank you guys very much for coming tonight. Tonight was made possible by Humanities and Social Science, ICC, and also our TESOL club on campus. So if you haven't had a chance to come out to other events, we'd love to see you and hang out with you, get to know you better. Thank you so much. Let's give another round of applause for Teresa. Very fun, very informative. It's so great. Thank you so much.